All right. Good evening, cyber friend. This is Mitty Man coming at you again from Walk Studio, back here, Studio B. Giving God all the praise and honor as usual. And we like to say to our Jewish friends, Happy Sabbath. And that's what I named this little video here this evening, the Jewish Sabbath. I'm quite sure that just about maybe all of you, especially the ones that attend my Bible study and the one that have been connected with me at any length of time, should already know what the Jewish Sabbath is. But I'm quite sure there might be some that do not know. But we will give you the rundown of the Jewish Sabbath. Now, matter of fact, a lot of people say they observe the Sabbath, and we have a whole religious organization, if you were to call it. They're called the Seventh Day Adventists, and they tend to do their worship on a Saturday, which is the Sabbath for the Jews, the Jewish Sabbath. They do it on this what they call the seventh day, which was made holy by our Lord God. And this was during creation. And he said God, after he had created everything, he created us on the sixth day. And after that, he rested on the seventh day and sanctified it and hallowed it and made it holy. Thus, he rested on that particular day. The Jews, as I've tried to teach over the years to everybody, that the Jews were a people, or are a people that were designed by God. Abraham being their founding father. Abraham was a Gentile, y'all. Now, I want y'all to remember that. We got to remember Abraham was a Gentile. He came out of the land of Ur, the Chaldees. That was around the Iraq area. Really and truly, the modern day Iraq area, somewhere around that area. That's where Abraham came from. He was a Gentile. And him and his half-sister, Sarai, that was her name before God changed it, Sarai. That was his half-sister. It was his wife, but it was his half-sister. That's how come when people said that Abraham lied, I said not really. He didn't tell a whole lie, but he halfway told the truth, because it was his half-sister when he told that to the king that was his sister. But nevertheless, God formed a nation out of the descendants of Abraham. God had a plan. In other words, from the very beginning, God had to get Jesus into the system of things. And he had to have a people that he could do it through. And the rest of us, we were so pagan he couldn't use us at all. I mean, we were just a mess. And so he chose a man by the name of Abraham, and he told him to be separate. Gave Abraham some things and ways that he was to follow. God's ways. He was supposed to do things God's way, which is always the best way. But nevertheless, it would separate them. It was to differentiate between them, the Israelites, among other people of the world, the Gentiles. And people, believe it or not, they were much different. That the Israelites to this day, they don't do things like nobody else in the world. No, their lifestyle is different. They dress is different. You can know them by the way they dress, and they diet is different. They do things God's way, the way that God intended and gave the mandate down through from Abraham all the way through Moses, and giving them the Mosaic law, all those dietary and sanitary laws that they were supposed to follow. They followed them to the letter. Some of them almost to the letter. This is what we get from we call the Sabbath. They were supposed in the book of the law, the Ten Commandments. It said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Jesus came along and told us what that really curtailed, what it really meant. Jesus told us that the Sabbath was meant for us. We were not made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath was made for us. In other words, it's not something that we should keep as on law to beat up each other with, but the Sabbath is made to give you and me rest. We need rest, y'all. You just can't do something continuously without interruption. You're gonna burn out. That's what the Sabbath was for. It was to give them much needed rest. 6 days God created the earth. Then the 7th day he rested, not because he was tired, but he was finished. That's why God stopped, because he was finished. But with us, we ain't never finished. In other words, we get tired. We can only go for so long, and we get tired. And if we do not quit, your body will quit. Even if you don't want to quit, your body will quit. And so this is what this Jewish Sabbath came about. And it started at, the Jewish Sabbath starts at sundown on Friday, which is today. It started about a couple hours ago. It's a little after 8 o'clock now. It really starts at dusk, at 6 o'clock. It goes from 6 o'clock Friday evening until 6 o'clock Saturday evening. That is this Jewish Sabbath. And so therefore we celebrate. And I used to do communion on Friday night in honor of the Jewish Sabbath. I used to do communion. And see, there ain't no harm to do it, because, see, first of all, Jesus had told us as often as we do this, we show forth his death and suffering until he come again. So in other words, you can do it as often as you want to. And if you go back to the early church people, the early church, they went daily from house to house breaking bread and fellowshipping with each other. They did it, and sometimes maybe if they went to 5 or 6 houses, they would take communion 5 or 6 times in one day. And they did it every day, daily. So you can't do communion too much. I mean, we always find an excuse when it comes to doing things for God. It always is too much, but it ain't never too much to do with this other junk that we want to do. We can make all kinds of excuses to do all our junk and party. We don't never say it's too much party. Have you ever heard anybody say that's too much? Y'all that's too much party. No, we party all the time. We party every day of the weekend. You got a picnic or a barbecue or a beer drinking, you ain't got no problem against people to come there, because they want to do that. But everything, when it comes to God, you can overdo it. No, you can't. That's a lie. Jesus says, often as you do this, you do so for my death and suffering until I come again. And I just want to say that this evening, and I am so blessed and thanking God to, just be alive. And I want to give God all the praise and glory. I can't thank God enough myself, because like I said, it could have been the other way, y'all. And all this here pandemic going on with the people, everybody half scared to death, most of them. And really truly, I feel sorry for those that are so fearful. But, I'm not saying, you got to be crazy and don't use common sense. But I think of some of this here fear, it's not healthy. And I know it's not healthy, because Jesus said, fear not. And so all we got to do is just rely and put our total trust in Jesus, and everything will be all right. Do what you need to do, and don't be crazy and go out there and do all kind of foolish stuff. See, it's a difference between faith and foolishness. So in other words, we just gonna say that I was so glad to be back in here. I had went out to my studio earlier. I went out there really to try to go and start on my music compositions. And I guess I'm gonna have to start back here tonight with it, because I did go out, but I got deterred. I had to come back in. I had to come back inside, tend some business, and so nevertheless, it's all good. I can do what I want back here. I got a keyboard back here, I got some stuff that I told y'all about. I got a book a while ago by this lady named Robin Frederick, and I have not really just used the book to a great degree yet. But it's this lady is a good songwriter, awesome songwriter. She mostly critiques a lot of songs on this thing they call Taxi TV with Michael Glasgow. I think that's what his name. I might be messing it up, but at any rate, it's called Taxi Music. And they got a lot of members. I'm not a member of Taxis. Not as of yet. I'm not a member. I was thinking about maybe trying to become a member at one time, but then again, like I said, I looked at my workflow. I wasn't really doing any type of composition. I had got totally away from music composition, which I felt ashamed to say it. Being a music major and composition in theory was my major strong points. And that was the one thing that I did not do a whole lot of. But we are trying to get back into the stem of things. And matter of fact, that's why one of the reasons why I went out to my studio this afternoon in order to do just that. I had took me one of my Lionel Richie tunes from back in the day. I had broken it down and everything, and I was fixing to get to engineering. So she called it reverse engineering, and that's what I was fixing to do. But then again, like I said, we just thank God for all of y'all, and I'm just saying, I don't know who I helped, if I helped anybody at all, I don't know. But I was saying about the Jewish Sabbath. In other words, that's where we get it. And all Jews tonight, they will be at the synagogue, and tomorrow they will do no servile work. In other words, they very astute about keeping that Sabbath. And matter of fact, if you go into the book of prophecies there in Matthew 24, Jesus said that when it came time for that man of sin to come on the scene, when that great tribulation would take place after the abomination of desolation take place, Jesus had said that every Jew in Judea need to flee. That's what he said. Every Jew in Judea need to flee because that's going to be a time of great tribulation. He's saying, pray that it don't be on the Sabbath. That's the reason why Jesus said, pray that it don't be on the Sabbath, because he know how the Jews feel about that Sabbath. And if they are not going to travel so far on the Sabbath. So you need to look into these things. Jesus doesn't say anything for nothing. You need to search it out. You need to research why did Jesus say certain things, and then you'll get a greater understanding of the whole process. 9 times out of 10, you won't be left in the dark, because the Holy Spirit gonna make certain that He share and bring all things to your understanding. If you ask Him, He will do that. So with that being said, this is Minute Man saying, whatever you get into, if God is not in it, please, ma'am, please, sir, come on out of it, because it's gonna come to nothing. Until the next video, next Bible study, whichever comes first, this is Minute Man saying peace and good evening.